Okay, so let's have a little think, having seen the demonstration of the difference between an actual lash lift and tint and somebody choosing to have false lash application. They deliver a very different effect, even though you can have false eyelashes with a natural effect. With the false eyelashes, you're going to have the application of a false lash actually applied on top of your natural lash. So there is something physically different onto the lash, whereas with the lash lift, we've just coloured the natural hair. So that may not give them the effect or enough of an effect. So if they want to have a more dramatic look, then you're definitely going to go more towards the false lash application. But what we have to remember is with popping on a false lash becomes more things that we have to think and worry about, and more things that the client has to leave and has to maintain and look after herself. So we would have to give them a long list of precautions to maintain their normal makeup and skincare routine in their day-to-day life. So somebody has to be willing to take on those precautions, even down to the fact of when they sleep on their side, those lashes are going to be interfered with from there. So with a natural lash, nothing is going to happen. So they can go about their normal makeup application, their normal skincare routine, and not have to worry about sleeping. So there's lots to consider between the two choices, and that's why lash lift and tint is actually becoming more and more popular now, whereas the false lash application seemed to be the most predominant thing we needed to offer on the market. It can also, with the false lashes, leave the natural lashes quite short and brittle and can have some detrimental effects, especially if the client doesn't maintain their precautions and aftercare correctly, and they can actually end up pulling some of their own lashes off. So sometimes people choose to have the lash lift and tint in between false lash application. So as a therapist, it's really our job to give our best advice depending on listening to what that client wants to achieve, so that we can give them the ultimate treatment to tick all their boxes. So when we are doing the lash lift and tint, we're also incorporating tinting. Most of you, before embarking on the lash lift and tint course, will probably have done a eyelash tinting course already, but just in case you haven't, or to remind you that we have a choice of colours that we can choose from when we're tinting somebody's lashes. And as the therapist, it's good for you to have an array of tints. So you've got maybe grey, you've got blue black, you've got brown, you may have light brown, and you need to understand about mixing colours as well, so that you can get the right colour tint for that person. I would say personally, majority of people that come to me for a lash lift and tint will have blue black, but when we're deciding on colour, you would generally look into consideration their hair colour, their skin tone, their age, and determine that colour with them, and usually what colour mascara they generally wear as well, because if they were wearing a brown mascara, generally you would probably go with a brown tint. And just to remind you how the tint works itself, so when we're using the peroxide with the tint, it's going to oxidize as we mix it together. That means that the cuticles on the hair are going to open, which means the molecules of that dye can get in there and they swell and they get trapped inside that hair. So that's how we're able to semi-permanently colour that hair. And the tint will usually last between 4, probably more like 6 weeks before it starts to lift. So the overall effect will be with the lash lift and tint is going to be, it's going to start to fade from about the 6 weeks. So you would be looking to rebook your client about every 8 to 10 weeks with the lash lift and tint, whereas with tinting you could probably have them back in every 6 weeks. So moving on to aftercare now. So this is really important with any treatment. So sometimes it's nicer to have a printout of the actual aftercare, or you can actually have something that you can send to them digitally, just as a gentle reminder when they get home, because they may forget what you've said. So the main key thing is that they keep those lashes dry for the first 48 hours. So that doesn't mean they cannot have a shower, but what we don't want them to do is get completely immersed in the water in the shower, or completely immersed in the bath with their head under the water. If they were to get a small amount of water fall onto them, it's not the end of the world, but we're aiming at making them aware that they need to keep those lashes dry for the first 48 hours. So that could be steam, so if they were going into a steam room or a sauna or something really where they were going to sweat and get very wet, we would avoid that for the first 48 hours. So with makeup, ideally we would like them to leave 24 hours before they apply makeup to the area. And when they're removing that makeup, just tell them to be quite gentle with the application of the remover, so that they're not pulling too much on that good work that we've done, and what they're using to remove it is quite gentle. We want to ask them to avoid touching the area initially, which will be tempting to do because they do feel very different once you've had them done, but to avoid touching them because we don't know what's on their fingers. We just want that process that we've done to be allowed to stay as it is, and you may even find that it continues a little bit after they leave, so they may get an even more of a curl carry on for the first 24 hours as well. So we want to allow that to happen. And the last thing I would mention is that if they're using a mascara, use a good quality conditioning mascara rather than one that's going to actually dry out those lashes. It does prolong the lash lift itself and treat those actual lashes, especially if they are somebody that has come off of false eyelashes and they're needing to strengthen those lashes. They can also use an eyelash growth serum, and that really works quite well paired together with a lash lift and tint as well. So concluding on this, we will have learned an awful lot within this course, and you're going to be now ready to take yourself, prepare your room, prepare your client, buy all of the tools that you need to perform the best treatment and work with confidence. So reuse the videos in this course and practice, practice, practice. The more practice you can do, the better you will become, the quicker you will become. This treatment is a really lovely treatment to do. It's an instant fix. It gives a youthful appearance to that client. It could be that they're going on holiday. It could be that they just fed up with wearing makeup. They might have allergic reactions to makeup. So you're able to give this treatment to a client. It's going to make them feel more confident overall. You're going to know how to, what aftercare advice to give that client, when to rebook that client in. So I hope you've really enjoyed this course, and I look forward to seeing the results of your treatments.